the man who touched the top of the world. Robert Edwin Peary was born in 1856 in a quiet town in Pennsylvania. But from a young age, his mind wandered far from the ordinary. While other children dreamed of comfort, Peary dreamed of ice. The Arctic called him, like a whisper in the wind, saying, "Come find me, if you dare." As a young man, Peary joined the U.S. Navy, but the ocean wasn't enough for him. He wanted the impossible, to stand at the northernmost point of Earth, a place so cruel, so empty, that no one had ever reached it before. He began his early journeys across Greenland, learning from the Inuit how to read the snow, how to breathe in the cold, and how to survive when nature wanted you dead. From them, he learned humility and endurance. And slowly, the dream grew into an obsession. Then, in 1908, something shook Peary's world. A man named Dr. Frederick Cook, a rival explorer, claimed he had already reached the North Pole. April 21, 1908. Cook's announcement spread like wildfire. Newspapers declared him the conqueror of the pole. For Peary, it was betrayal, a stab in the heart of a lifelong dream. But Peary didn't believe him. Cook's records were thin, his observations vague, and so Peary made a vow. "If I must walk through death itself, I will prove the truth." From that moment, the Arctic was no longer just a challenge. It became a battlefield for glory. July 6, 1908, the ship Roosevelt sailed from New York, bound for the edge of the world. On board, Peary, his trusted companion Matthew Henson, and a team of brave Inuit guides, Uta, Siglu, Egingwa, and Ukwea. Their mission, to carve a path across the frozen ocean. For months, they fought nature itself. Ice ridges taller than men rose like mountains. Freezing winds cut through skin like knives. At times, their sled dogs froze mid-step. At others, they faced open water, black and endless beneath the ice. Still, Peary pressed on, calculating, organizing, laying supply camps across hundreds of miles of shifting white wilderness. By February 1909, the journey entered its final phase. Each team advanced a few days, then turned back. Only Peary, Henson, and the 4 Inuit men would go on to the end. April 6, 1909. The air was silent, the horizon pure white. They had marched through hell itself. And now, Peary looked at his compass at the sun's height and said softly, "We are here." Matthew Henson, ever loyal, took a few steps forward, turned back with frost covering his beard, and whispered, "I think I was the first man to sit on the top of the world." At that moment, Peary planted the American flag into the ice. They cheered, not loudly, not wildly, but with exhausted relief. After decades of dreaming, fighting, failing, freezing, they had done it, or so they believed. When Peary returned, the world erupted. Headlines screamed, "Man conquers the North Pole." He was celebrated as a hero, decorated, admired, immortalized. But behind the applause came whispers. Scientists began to examine his records. Some said his final travel speed was impossible. Others found his navigation logs incomplete. Had he really reached 90 degrees north? Or was he still miles away, carried by drifting ice? And then, Dr. Cook reappeared, insisting he was first all along. The world was divided. The glory turned to controversy. No one could say for sure who truly reached the pole, because both men's evidence had holes as deep as the Arctic Sea. Amid the chaos, one man's story was nearly forgotten: Matthew Henson. the Black American explorer who stood shoulder to shoulder with Peary, who led the dogs, fixed the sleds, and risked his life for the mission. For decades, his name was buried under history's snow. Only much later did the world begin to honor his courage and recognize that he too was part of that legend. And what about the Inuit guides, Uta, Siglu, Egingwa, Ukwea? They were the silent backbone of the expedition. Without them, no first would ever have existed. But like footprints on snow, their names slowly faded with time. More than a century has passed. Scientists still debate Peary's accuracy. Some claim he was short by 60 miles. Others believe he truly made it. But maybe that's not the point. What matters is the courage, the will to walk where no map existed, to face a world of endless white and still whisper, "Forward, just a little farther." Robert Peary, Matthew Henson, and their Inuit companions, they didn't just chase a point on a map. They proved that human spirit can outlast fear, cold, and time itself. So the next time you feel small beneath the stars, remember the men who stood beneath the same sky, believing they had touched the top of the world. Was Robert Peary truly the first to reach the North Pole? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing is certain, his legend still stands on the ice. This was Legends of the World. If you enjoyed this journey through the cold and the courage, don't forget to subscribe, because more stories of dreams, danger, and discovery await.